Good evening, familia. This is your host, Ray Collazo, and you're watching and listening to the Found in Translation Talk Show, the talk show that stacks truth about politics and today's hottest issues. Thank you so much for joining us on it's getting warmer out there. Shame I can't really do much, but that's okay. We're here to protect each other and get to business. This is a very important episode let's just bring out my fearless co-host because she's the inspiration for this episode. Of course, I'm talking about Zulay Picarelli in the building. What's up, Zulay?
Hi, Ray. How are you?
I'm excited.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Hold on. Mask on. Come on now. And we're color coordinated.
Yes.
So I think you're in a safe place. You can put it down under your chin. Zulay, how are you this warm evening?
This is on the agenda for today for us to, briefly speak about. So
That's right. So this is the Getting Down to Business episode of Found in Translation. We're going to have business women and business leaders who are going to discuss, how do we deal with the economics of this issue? Of course, we're talking about the COVID-19 season, as people that are community oriented and are involved in the politics of it. We've been very focused on sort of the health and community service element of this issue. But Zulay, I want to thank you for your leadership because you felt very strongly we had to approach the economics of this and really be there to support our folks, whether they're employed and looking to see how they can reinvent themselves, or are business owners that are, looking to survive.
it's definitely been, a tough time for a lot of people that, you and I both know. And, it's all about how do I protect my four walls now, during a time where maybe we aren't making income, and what ideas are there for us to make some income. Although for me, it's been much more about an opportunity for, finding ways to make a contribution to the community and how can I coordinate and how can I connect, much like you've been doing during all of, quarantine.
Yeah, no. And again, we're going to have later on in the show, two businesswomen, actually a group of businesswomen that are pivoting and making things happen during this very trying time. They both businesses have very compelling stories, and and both are great friends to the show. Have been on the show before around their activism. Wanda Mora and Tania Valencia and Mami Elva from the Valencia family will be on in a moment. And of course, we're going to introduce our other very special guest, who's one of the leaders, particularly in the Philadelphia area and really nationally, for Latino small business owners. But first, very quickly, we wanted to just mention the name of Breonna Taylor. And it's tragic that we have to keep bringing up names of innocent African Americans that, whether they're jogging, sleeping in their own house, minding their own business, selling Lucy's on the corner. I mean, just folks that are really not harming anyone, are dying senselessly at the hands of law enforcement. Breonna Taylor from Louisville, Kentucky. The story came out. Cops went to the wrong apartment complex, knocked on the wrong door, busted the wrong door, killed the wrong person. So Zulay, I know we wanted to just take a moment to honor her memory, and people hear from me all the time about criminal justice issues, but wanted to give you the floor to share any thoughts you have on this situation.
I have a young boy who is, and I know, you hear so many moms say this, but I have a 12-year-old, about to be 13, and my husband and I talk about concern over his safety because, what if one day he's not in the right place, or what if he's standing on the wrong corner waiting for the school bus? And it's definitely something that I don't want to have to think about my son's safety. I want to know that my son is out in the community, or, just lounging at home safely, and not have the people who are supposed to keep us safe intrude in the safety of our home and, have these things happen. I can't understand. I don't understand.
And we, as we've shared, myself and Zoe Colon, the host of the Tuesday shows, spent some time talking about this earlier in the week. You can check out the archives at Found Translation's YouTube page on that. But, we spoke about, why it's very important for Latinos in particular to stand in solidarity with the Black community, the Ahmad family, the Taylor family during this tragic time. So much respect and continued prayers and positive energy for some sort of closure and causes and justice for the Taylor family. But again, this episode is dedicated to getting down to business during COVID-19. And we wanted to ground ourselves in the conversation with, again, the go-to leader in the Philadelphia area for business issues impacting the Hispanic community, the president and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and a great friend to the show, Jennifer Rodriguez. Jennifer, welcome to
¿Qué
Found Trends.
tal? Good. Hello, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to finally be in the famous couch, if you will, with Recolazo, and thank you.
La de nuestra casa.
Jennifer,
Muchas
you did have to wait, and that was longer than expected. I remember when I first started this journey many years ago, I sat down with you. You gave me some great advice, and I probably should have taken more of it. But at the same time, this is a great time to have this conversation, and the show has really created a very good community of like-minded people, many of which live that are part of your network and with the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Jennifer, I'm actually going to tee up my co-host, Zulay Picarelli, because before we get into some of the details around the work that you're doing to support, consult small business owners, you have a great local campaign to support our restaurateurs that we want to talk about. Zulay wanted to talk about mindset, and I think that that's a great part of this conversation that she wanted to have with you to kind of get us grounded into how do we put ourselves in the mindset to get the business during COVID-19 season. Zulay, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ray. And yeah, it was really important, for us to have some conversation around, not just financial literacy, which I love, but more about, it's like we're in the face of fear. We're all scared. We're facing the unknown. And thank you so much for starting us off in this conversation, Jennifer. We are certainly living through this tragedy together in this pandemic, and we know that some of our businesses are currently faced with hard decisions to make. Like, will we make payroll, or do we have to let some people go, or will we end up closing, operations permanently, for example? What kinds of, if you can give us an idea of what kind of calls for help you've received at the chamber, for example, or recommendations that you can make to owners that are adapting to the new way.
Yes. So yes, absolutely. Look, it's there's an uncertainty in the air. The country is slowly coming back from the many stay-at-home orders and quarantine periods, and life will have the new normal is the word that gets, or the phrase that we're all talking about, and we're talking about a new normal because there's really no going back. Right. But I think if I think of a group of people that are resilient and creative, and like a friend of mine says, que tienen ganas, right, and can really their ingenuity helps them really solve problems, and it's the Latino community. Right. So I think in terms of mindset, our grandparents and our parents say, no hay mal que por bien no venga, right? So it's the idea that in moments of stress and in moments of really difficult circumstances, creativity and innovation and problem solving sort of takes place. So after a few weeks of not knowing what to do, which is what the calls that we were getting, at the office, we were remotely. So a lot of this was, of course, either virtual or by phone. A lot of the calls is, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But now we are, a few weeks into this, we're seeing how the business owners, how the entrepreneurs have started solving for the problem. Right. And have started getting creative. So we have the restaurants that were closed, have reopened and have pivoted and doing much more delivery and takeout. We have restaurant owners, and for those that are out there that haven't quite figured it out yet, that have started reducing their menus, for example, and started doing family packages. Right. So instead of serving, just a single meal for delivery and takeout, doing family, packaging things in ways that make more sense economically for them and for the customers. catering to institutions, so a lot of it is how do you pivot. So we have a number of restaurants that are actually doing better now than they were prior to, right?
Nice.
Yeah, which is great. And so we see people that have, particularly in the Latino community, where there is a significant digital divide gap, right?
Mhm.
We have seen a lot of stress at the very beginning over learning how to use these new methods of communication, video conferencing, Facebook Live.
Solution.
And they've had to very quickly learn, right? Um, how to sign a document online, how to create a PDF file, how to upload and download. And I think that in many ways, those skills, of course, will remain with us. And those are the skills we need in the new normal, right?
Because like I said before, we're not going back to the things the way it was.
Absolutely. And in so many ways, a lot of businesses are also saving money, right? Because there's a lot of things that they were doing physically that they no longer need to do physically. Imagine in the Hispanic Chamber. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. We are working remotely. We used to spend between $200 and $300 a month in transportation costs, coming and going from meetings. Well, we're having the meetings now remotely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $300 a month that we are no longer spending, but we're being just as effective, right?
Yes.
So that translates into many, many businesses now. Of course, there is a great number of Latino businesses that don't have the luxury or whose business models don't quite adapt as nicely. I'm thinking about the beauty hair salons, child care facilities, some bodegas, some grocers, some, restaurants and bars.
Differently, do you think? I mean, I know it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but
well, I mean, I think we as a society will have to come to some sort of balance, because the reality is that if we want a working economy, particularly as it relates to essential workers, we have to solve the childcare problem. Mm-hmm. We have to solve the transportation problem, right? So we are necessitated to come up with some solutions that are viable, because it's just otherwise the economy won't really work at its most efficient, right? So I trust that the brilliant minds will come together. But I think the most important thing is for business owners, this is the time to plan and strategize. Mm-hmm. Do not wait until the city of Philadelphia, the city of Chester, until Camden, until the government says we're open to open. Because what we're saying is that re-entering the economy will take much more than just turning on the lights and putting your shingle saying we're open for business. You will have to rethink, retool, reorganize, restructure your business in many ways, or many businesses will have to, right?
And I mean this because of the technology, wave, that implementation that, the first group got a chance to implement and have been added for 10 weeks now, 8 weeks?
Well, mostly I would say that it comes from three sources, right? You have the regulatory environment, government, public health departments, licensing and inspections, OSHA, FDA, CDC, all of them will have regulations and recommendations, and there will laws be passed related to how you can conduct your business or how you cannot conduct your business. And that will affect a lot of your operations, ultimately affecting your bottom line. So you really need to do the numbers. Number two, they are the expectations that customers will have and the confidence and trust that you will need to regain with your customers. Are you operating in a way that protects the health and safety of your customer, right? And thirdly, it's the employee, right? For those that have employees are going to expect and perhaps even demand certain conditions before they return to work. And the government certainly will want to protect the employees, right? Mm-hmm. So as an employer, what are you doing? How are you planning for that, Are you going to have to provide, I don't know, social distancing inside your business? Can you do that? Can your business continue to work remotely indefinitely? What are you doing about sick leave?
I'm really hoping that people aren't waiting, to, for example, buy a mask, because you're going to be out anyway.
Yeah.
So there are some things that we could be taking care of at a personal level. And then this is where the whole mindset shift has to happen personally. Because we can't just wait for others to do for us when you could be doing a little bit more for yourself.
Well,
Absolutely.
things are not going to be the same. And it's just a question of how we adapt to them. And you're listening to Zulay Picarelli and Jennifer Rodriguez from the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on Found Translation. Before we bring on one of the business women that's making things happen during COVID-19 crisis to join this conversation, I want to pull back a little bit, Jennifer, and just from a policy perspective, you can give us your thoughts on kind of how, there have been multiple relief packages that have tried to address these issues. The CARES Act specifically dedicated, and then the subsequent stimulus package that specifically focused on small businesses and trying to provide them relief through no fault loans, forgiven loans, potentially through the Small Business Administration. We've heard a lot of chatter, and actually my day job, Jennifer, Unidos US, I'll share with you the data is coming out with some research on a national level on this any day now. But can you share with us, are Latino businesses in your chamber, are they able to access these resources? And how has been that experience for your chamber trying to interface with the SBA and the federal government to try to get some support for your companies?
Great. So absolutely. I think that's a great question. So I will say this. I will say that overall at the national level, the story is not as positive as in Philadelphia. We just conducted a survey in collaboration with ethnic chambers in the Philadelphia region. And of those that responded, 26% of them said that their banking institution was not able to meet their needs as it relates to the famous payroll protection program loan. That means that either the bank did not process an application, the bank processed the application but did put them on a waiting list because they had ran out of funding, or that the bank did not at all pay attention to them and they had to go and look for funding elsewhere. And that is a story that we heard a lot, if you recall, in the first round of this. So in the Philadelphia region, and in the central Pennsylvania region, we are incredibly fortunate to have what it's called a CDFI, a community-based financial services institution, which operates like a bank, not for deposits, but for lending, right? And that bank, Community First Fund, has the ability to process SBA PPP loans, which is this payment protection plan or program. So, and they have a great bilingual staff. So we were able to partner with them and with another CDFI, Finanta, and really route a lot of the Latino-owned businesses through that. And in fact, we have helped match over close to $1 million in financing for Latino-owned businesses in our membership, right? But that is not the case everywhere. In most other locations, Latino business owners do not have a CDFI with SBA lending capacity, right? Now, on the second round, that was helped. Right. The second round really has enabled more small businesses, including those Black and brown businesses, to access the capital. But what we know is that this crisis is a cash flow crisis, and every day counts, particularly when we understand that the average small business does not have more than 2 or 3 weeks of reserves in the bank. Right. And we are now on week 10 or something like that.
Week 10.
So exactly. Right. So if you have 3 weeks and you don't get your money until week 10, that is 4 weeks too late. Right. So the essence of this is really about how fast can you get the money into the hands of the entrepreneurs and how easy can you make it?
And you're listening to Jennifer Rodriguez on Found Translation. Jennifer, your your experience with this, working with CDFIs and working with the lenders, the community lenders in the state, very much reflect what we're seeing all over the country. So from a Latino perspective, there's very much a dynamic, even amongst the Latino business community and the nonprofit community, which also was eligible for these resources, sort of a have and have not. So the bigger, the bigger Latino businesses that had relations with bigger banks tended to, have a relatively easier experience than the ones that frankly, didn't have a CDFI in their community. And the biggest feedback, Jennifer, so what your experience is very relevant to this national conversation, because the biggest feedback we've gotten from that sector of our community is that we want this money to go through CDFIs for our bodegas and our smaller businesses. So this is definitely in line with what we're talking about. And again, you're listening to Jennifer Rodriguez on Found Translation. Let me bring back, let's get Wanda here. We want to bring on one of the business owners that's dealing with these issues. We finally got her back, which is great.
Sorry, I was having a little trouble.
That's okay, Wanda. No worries. So let's get Wanda Mora in this conversation. People in the Philadelphia area no need introduction. Wanda Mora, one of the great businesswomen and philanthropists in our community. She's one of the great stylists. Has a wonderful salon in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and got a lot of media attention, particularly locally, but also nationally. One of David Begnat's homies. Got a lot of attention nationally for her leadership around disaster relief from the island of Puerto Rico. Wanda Mora, welcome back to Found Translation.
Thank you.
Great to hear from you. So, Wanda, why don't you share us with the audience your story? Successful businesswoman in the beauty industry, one of the industries hardest hit by this whole situation.
Yeah.
And you're finding ways to make lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, making a delicious lemon pie.
There you go. So share with the audience the story of how the last few months has caused you to pivot your own business.
Well, I mean, it has hurt us tremendously. All of a sudden, and let me just tell you, let me preface by saying that March through June are our busiest months in our industry, even more so than the holidays, believe it or not. Proms, graduations, weddings, in addition to, everyone wanting a change for the new seasons, etc. So we went from, our successful business to zero in just a matter of a few hours. And, we have been impacted greatly, and we're even more so impacted because we're not the type of business that can have a curbside pickup. We did do the color kits, but even that, we are a service industry, and people want the service. They can go pick up a color kit at CVS. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing as having it applied and shampooed and and serviced. So we're not the kind of business that can. I mean, we can be creative, but it's not as easy as selling something curbside. It's not that easy.
Exactly. Zula, I know you're curious about how Wanda's made this pivot, and you had a question.
Well, I'm always curious about that moment where, the idea was born. Can you tell us about that? Like, I know that what's propelling all of, you to start this new phase of your business, but can you tell us of that moment where, this is it?
Which one are you talking about? The masks or my business?
The masks. Yeah.
Oh, the masks.
Yeah.
I was raised with a mother that was very resourceful. We were raised we come from very humble beginnings, and my mother taught us how to survive in this world. And she taught us how to sew as young girls, and how to cook and all that other stuff. But this idea came up because I think I got ahead of it before it became, now everyone sells masks. But at that time, I figured I'm going to be home doing nothing. So
exactly.
I also have the type of personality where I have to, always be doing something. So I went on YouTube. I found a video that taught me how to make a mask, and I added my little flair to it, and the rest is history. I mean, I started it with the intention of just donating.
Uh-huh.
So I pledged on live TV. I pledged 100 masks that I would make to donate, and that's how it started. It's just like with Puerto Rico. I started with, I'm going to collect $10,000. The $10,000 turned out to be 400,000
Wow.
in money and provisions. So you just have to start with a little faith
Mm-hmm.
and start small with the idea. I mean, you can't get too ahead of yourself, and you can't, dreaming big is about trial and error. It's about not being afraid or fearful of failing. You just go for it and hope for the best. Put your all into it, and that's just what happens. I said, I'm not going to be doing anything. I'll go to Walmart, buy some fabric. I went and bought some fabric. I bought it all up and made these masks and donated them. And then, everybody started saying how nice they were. And then, can I buy some off you, the public? And I just started, you know what? Why not sell some? And then my business is closed. I'm
Uh-huh.
hurting financially. The SBA, for small business owners, the SBA will help you with your business, but they're not helping you with your personal bills. And we do not qualify for everything that everybody else qualifies for. So I needed something to sustain me financially until we open again for my
I have a
personal
feeling that
bills.
soon Wanda's going to say COVID was a blessing in disguise.
For who?
For you, Wanda. There's like this whole opportunity that you started this brand new business, and you're also
Yeah.
helping people. It's like you found an opportunity to solve a problem and the money followed you.
Yeah, I think just like with everything, you start with love. You start doing everything with love, and everything else will follow. You know, you
Yeah.
you put into your craft just you know the desire, the faith, the love, for that craft or for that thing, and everything else will follow. You can't start with the ambition. You just start with, and then you just take it from there. That's how my whole life has been, really.
You listen to Wanda Mora on Found in Translation. Jennifer Rodriguez from the Chamber, Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I want to bring you back in this conversation before Zulaya makes a very special announcement, and we hear more from Wanda Mora and our other special guests that are in the queue. Jennifer, when you hear Wanda Mora's story, what are the lessons you want not only the members of your chamber, but also the people watching this and listening to this all over the country, all over the world that are at home and a lot of anxiety around what the future holds. So what resonates with Wanda's story you wanted to share?
Well, what comes to mind is the word resolver, right? And so when people talk about innovation and technology, ultimately is about solving a problem, right?
Right.
And there was a problem. There was a problem of lack of masks, lack of personal protection equipment, right? And the idea that somebody has skills like Wanda and is somebody that is a go-getter and decides, I am going to solve that problem. And in solving that problem and being charitable about it, right? Because the idea was to provide and donate them because there's a need in the community, right? You do that. And in return, what you see that there's an actual true demand for that, not only for it to be granted, right, or gifted, but for people to acquire it at a price, right? And if the quality is good, and if the entrepreneur behind it is doing the right things and preparing and planning, then there's an opportunity. You can be opportunistic about it, right? And so my question to you is, and what I post to all, a lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with is, what are we thinking about the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, right? And not only on your beauty salon, which is going to be a very tricky and very complicated process of reopening. But then does the mask production have a life of its own that can move on forward, right, and beyond? And that becomes now manufacturing, right? And so
Right.
manufacturing comes with a whole different set of opportunities, right?
Right.
And constraints, right? But in manufacturing, there's a lot of opportunity in manufacturing, and there's very little manufacturing in the Latino community. So frankly, I would love to see more Latino businesses sort of, for lack of a better word, graduating into more of a wholesale and production rather than doing business to consumer, because business to consumer can be very volatile, and it can be very susceptible to the whims of the economy in ways that doing business between business to business, selling masks to hospitals, to doctors, sending masks to other,
Like,
exactly, right?
mhm.
And so there are opportunities, as you see, right, if you start thinking about it. And this is where the chamber, I think, can play a really good role. Like, part of what we've been doing recently is doing these coaching sessions with entrepreneurs that bring their problems, and we just have a whole bunch of people that we're just throwing ideas out there. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Because they're people with different skills and different experiences. And when an entrepreneur is sort of, I would say, just in this anxiety, in this moment of a lot of pressure, you almost need to like separate from that and have a whole group of people looking at the problem from different angles. And I would recommend that any entrepreneur, just bring their problems out in the open to a group of very diverse thinkers to see what they tell you about the business.
So Wanda, if you can hold that thought, because we definitely want to get your feedback on Jennifer's conversation, hear a little bit more
Yeah.
about Jennifer's program to support Latino restaurateurs in the area. But we have a very special announcement. It's 8:35. So for those that watched us and have been following us social media, we made a very special announcement on Tuesday's episode that because of unfortunately, all these parades and festivals, they're going to be canceled. There aren't too many Puerto Rican parties going on in the next few months. So we're going to bring the Puerto Rican Day festival flavor here to Found Translation. So on June 11th, we're going to have a Puerto Rican celebration here on Found Translation, parranda style, desfile style, whatever you want to say. So Zulai is going to now announce what the name of this episode and this spectacular is going to be. For those that didn't see our anniversary show 2 weeks ago, we had Frankie Negron, Pablo Batista, a lot of celebrities. 2 of those performers have gotten paid gigs from appearing on the show. So we're trying to give the love back to our artists. So I'm going to now text or on the private chat Zulai the name of the show, and she can announce it. Now we're going to get her initial reaction. So y'all can close your eyes because I don't want you see it in the private chat too. So here's the name of it, Zulai. Let people know what we're going to do on June 11th.
Bomba! I love it.
Bomba
Puerto Rican celebration.
Bomba Live virtual Puerto Rican celebration on June 11th. Hopefully,
so fun.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have what we really like about what we did with the anniversary. We want to replicate is obviously we're gonna have entertainers and singers and artists, but we also want to incorporate leaders in the community. So we're gonna be honoring Puerto Rican leaders. 1 or 2 may be a part of this conversation now. Who knows? We'll see. But that contribute positively to our community in their respective fields throughout the country. We're blessed to have a great network of leaders that we know, not just in Philly and New York and the East Coast or Florida, but truly throughout the country. And so we're going to get the people on the island diaspora involved. So I hope y'all put it on your calendars, because we're going to have a great time on June 11th, the Bomba Live virtual Puerto Rican celebration. You may see a logo.
Where can we find more info?
Well, they have to go to Found Translation social media handles, where our handle is FIT_talk show, and our YouTube page is youtube.com/race podcast. And Bomba Live will actually have social media handles starting tomorrow. So look out for those, our logo release tomorrow. Jennifer, before we let you go and introduce our other panelists, just any thoughts? You have a great initiative going on. To support our restaurateurs and our entrepreneurs in the chamber. Let people know about it and how we can support it.
Yes, absolutely. Dine Latino Takeout Weekend. It's really intended to help Latino owned restaurants in the region and really anywhere, wherever you are. The idea is Latino restaurants, of course, are being affected significantly. This is where a lot of our families and a lot of our neighborhoods derive their income and their wealth. And so while they are waiting to be able to fully operate, we can always promote their takeout and delivery where they are available. So you can visit our website, philahispanicchamber.org, where you can log into the page for Dine Latino Takeout Weekend, and you can find the list of participating restaurants. But frankly, any Latino-owned restaurant in your neighborhood is a great opportunity to support. Our hashtag is Latino Takeout or hashtag Dine Latino. Buy from them, order from them. Ideally, you will bypass the third-party delivery because they charge very high commissions. So we invite you to call the restaurant directly or order directly from the restaurant. That way you can keep as much of the money in the restaurant's pockets as possible. And absolutely, let's just really support the community. Make a really conscious effort of keeping your dollars in the Latino community, and take a picture of the food, post it with a hashtag, and let's just really make it a movement because our Latino economy, frankly, depends on it.
Thank you so much, Jennifer Rodriguez from the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and appreciate all of your leadership. You really have grown this chamber into a powerhouse in the Philadelphia area. And I must say, and I talked to your colleagues in the chambers, Hispanic chambers around the country. I want people to know locally, you are very well respected all over the country by your colleagues at other chambers. And your leadership goes well beyond the city of brotherly love. Thank you so much, Jennifer Rodriguez. And don't make it the last time you join Found Translation, okay?
And bomba.
I love it. Jennifer will be back. No question about it.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you again so much, Jennifer, for joining the show. So I want to bring Wanda back into this conversation. Wanda, why don't you wrap
I
up?
can't hear.
Zulai, why don't you ask Wanda?
I can't hear you, Ray.
Zulai, can you hear? Can you hear? Say something, Zulai.
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
Ask Wanda her final question, and then we'll introduce the other panelists.
Wanda, do you have a final question before?
A comment to Jennifer's.
A final comment to Jennifer before we introduce the panel?
No, I had a comment earlier on what she was saying, but it's fine. I'm good.
Aprovecha.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring on another family. This is truly a family affair on Found Translation. We want to bring another family that's gone through a similar journey that Wanda's, but one that is extra special because of it's a unit, a true family affair. A great friend to the show, Tania Valencia, y Mami Elva is with us. Welcome back to Found Translation, Tania.
Thank you. Happy to be here. So I'm Tania, and this is Mami Elva. She's our grandma.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
This is Jessica.
Hey,
so yeah, we've been making masks. My grandma has been making masks for about a month or so now, and I'll just let her take it away as far as talking about how this started, a little bit about herself. Si le quiere decir a la gente un poquito.
Sí, si quiere hablar español, el idioma que prefiere, no se preocupe.
Cuéntenos cómo comenzó esta operación, porque esto parece toda una operación.
Comenzó cuando comenzó la epidemia.
Sí.
Yo pensé en mis hijos, mi familia, y dije yo, ahora voy a ver qué hago, porque no había nada en las tiendas. Buscábamos mascarillas, buscábamos líquido para las manos y no encontrábamos nada. Y dije yo, ahora digo yo, es mi turno.
Ajá.
Y me puse a ver de dónde y cómo hacía, y a todos los hijos, los nietos, a todos les hice sus mascarillas, y me sentía muy útil para ellos porque los estaba protegiendo. Y luego después vino la hija, la mamá de Tania, llorando que ella estaba volviéndose loca porque ya no aguantaba, afligida del virus. Y le digo yo, pongámonos a hacer algo.
Ajá.
Y empezamos y ella como que le sirvió de terapia porque le vi que ella cambió, ya no lloró, ya ella conmigo agarró otro ritmo de la vida y ahora todos los días se viene porque
Wow.
vamos a hacer
mucho.
y han ido por varias partes de los Estados Unidos, Alaska, las mascarillas que hemos hecho y bueno, nos ha ayudado porque nos ha quitado un poco de todo esto que sentimos de esta epidemia que un poquito y nos volvemos locos.
Ajá.
Pero
me resulta tan, es que usted también escogió ver una situación como una oportunidad y me encanta de la parte de su historia en donde la otra persona viene ahora a su casa y le ayuda también a hacer las máscaras porque pues ya usted también le está dando como, no sé, motivo a otras personas.
Siento que fue útil para ella porque emocionalmente le ayudé.
Ajá.
Bastante le ayudé porque yo sentía que ella ya estaba perdiendo ya el control.
Sí, y muchas veces eso nos ha pasado durante esta pandemia a muchas personas y es tan importante mantenernos conectados a nuestros vecinos, a nuestra familia, de la manera que podamos, claro, pero mantenernos conectados pues para así mantener nuestro estado de ánimo y vemos los frutos que está rindiendo en usted y en su familia también.
Sí, porque sí nos ha ayudado bastante.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's pretty, you know, I think it's this time period is like really hard on everyone, right? Like
yes.
we've seen it in our family. I know, you know, the viewers have probably seen it in their families as well. Here where we're at in Northern Virginia, Latinos here are 9% of the whole state. But as far as the cases go, where we're at, we're up to 60% of the cases. Latino folks here are representing 60% of the COVID cases.
Wow.
So that is not, there's nothing normal in that. And it's like the longer the time period has been going on with this crisis, the more we've been hearing about like family friends and people that we've known that have gotten the virus. And for the most part have recovered. But it's like the degrees of separation between us and the virus is just, we're seeing it's getting smaller and smaller as the time goes on. But at least for the time period, you know, this gives my grandma and it gives my mom and it gives Jessica something to, you know, work on, something to about. And I think it's like, this definitely helps, obviously, you know, like their wallets, during this time period, but it does so much more than that as well. It provides what my grandma said, like some sense of even like therapy, because it's like an outlet to be able to produce something. And, you know, it's really, this is coming out of like a place of love, like Wanda was saying earlier. This is us taking care of our community. This is us taking care of the people we care about and people that are sending us orders that we might not even know, but we know that they are in need of a mask, because it's a scary time period for everyone. So this is really an act of love, even though it's, you know, been started in some way out of like some of the fears that we've been feeling personally.
And you're listening to Tania Valencia and Mami Elva on Found Translation. I want to bring Wanda Mora into this conversation. Wanda, I know you're feeling what the Valencia women are talking about, my friend. So, and I know family is at the core. Your dear family is at the core of your journey. So, just share us your reflections. I know there's a lot of commonalities to your story that you're hearing from these ladies.
Yeah, I mean, when we were making masks in the beginning, it started like with them. So I'm loving watching them. Because it was, you know, my mom helping us cut because, you know, my mother had 5 strokes, so she's handicapped and can't do much anymore, but she was helping us cut. My sister and my niece, we were all sewing all together. It grew to the point where, you know, we can't be attached to the sewing machine all the time because I have a business. My sister has a job. my niece has a job and college. So we actually hired 3 seamstresses that were out of work, and now they make the masks for us. So I can now run the business. I still do all the shipping and all that stuff, but I am delighted to have met these women because it is very special when you can do something like that together. I would say um, just don't give things away though, because I always feel like in the Latino community, we have a very hard time um, charging our value. Um, and what I mean by that is we shortchange ourselves a lot because of what others say um, about us. And we have the right to also, um, you know, make a living off of that's people don't understand what goes into making these masks. It is a lot of hard labor. It's a lot of hard work. You're Let me tell you, I sat on that machine for 12, 14 hours a day in the first month, and I'm going to tell you, my back was done. So it's a very labor intensive, and it's more.
Ladies agree.
Yeah, it's very labor intensive. People don't understand. People don't understand that the cost has gone up greatly because fabric is in such high demand that the prices have skyrocketed. It's hard to find fabric. And, people, in my case, they expect me to just donate all the time and not charge for my work. We can't. And I have seamstresses to pay now. It's not,
Yeah. No,
you
totally agree.
away. You just can't give it away.
Mm-hmm.
We all have great hearts and we all want to help the community. We all want to do those things. But at the same time, I don't, everybody's not doing it. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we totally agree. I know Jessica has definitely been, picking up a lot of the work as far as like looking for some of those supplies. Because like you said, it's like, it's honestly like insane trying to find some of that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe before the crisis, it was a little bit easier, but right now it's like almost near impossible. But I'll let Jessica share from her perspective some of that stuff as far as like finding supplies.
Yeah, it was something like very brand new because I was just so used to going to the store, picking up what I need, and everything would be there. And then during these times, like just finding materials so we can continue the business and making masks was like very difficult, and it was very stressful. But it was also like teaching me to like value the things that we had before, because right now it's very different, and it's teaching me a lot of things. And I just learned to like not stress or get angry about it and just to value what I had before.
I think that's an excellent way of, taking things, because we're all dealing with something that's new to everyone, and we're just settling into a new way of doing things now.
The new normal.
We just have to be gracious, not just with everyone around us, but also with ourselves. And I tell my sister, cut yourself some slack. You're doing all right.
Yeah. And I think, for me, like, I kind of, in my role, I more so just kind of like take the orders, right? And then I like pass it on to my grandma and my mom. But for me, even just like seeing the way that, my family and Jessica have like really like stepped up during this time period.
Mm-hmm.
They say like, when you're in crises, like it also shows like, the innate natural like talents and like leadership in people. Like I've definitely seen that as like her older cousin. We're like quite a few years apart, but like I've definitely seen her really like grow and step up like as like one of the leaders in like our family during this crisis. So it's been like really great to see. I'm really proud of her.
This situation is definitely going to sharpen a lot of leader swords. So that's going to be fun to see. Doña Elba, cuéntenos si puede, cómo usted ve que pues todo este negocio continúa en los próximos meses. what hope, how do you wish for this to grow?
No sé, porque yo ya estoy cansada y
Oh, no.
con muchos años encima, digo yo, y bueno.
Pero se acaba de comenzar. La vida acaba de comenzar.
Esto va a ser por un tiempo, porque ya todo pase, ya no se van a vender. Ahorita porque no se encuentran, es bien difícil y las desechables.
Recuerde que comienzan las clases pronto y los niñitos necesitan su mascarilla.
Bueno, vamos a ver.
Aún no sabemos si van para la escuela, pero en caso de que sí, van a hacer falta.
Sí, pero si hay necesidad, vamos a continuar porque hasta donde llegue, pero...
Entonces, doña Elba dice que mientras haya demanda, usted se sienta.
Sí, mientras haya, yo me siento ahí, y aunque ya en la tarde ya no aguante.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what Wanda was saying, like, people don't actually see how much, like, how labor intensive making these masks really are. Like, it is a lot. It takes a toll on the body.
It's like, for your listeners out there, I'm sorry to interrupt, but for your listeners out there, can I just tell you, it's like, first you have to buy the fabric. I'm just going to take you like quickly through what you have to go through. First, you have to purchase the fabric, make sure that the fabric is the right fabric for these masks, okay? Then you have to bring it home, whatever like that. You have to cut the fabric. You have to make a pattern. You have to then cut the fabric. And you don't know how many times you have to sew a mask before you perfect it. Then when you perfect the mask, okay, it's in my case, it's 3 layers of fabric, and then I make a pocket for disposable filters and the elastic. You have to make sure that all the measurements of everything, including that elastic, is the right ones, because then it'll hurt your ears. Because one thing that people do a lot is complain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure that, everything, and then you have to sit there, and it takes a long time. I started with only 2 masks in an hour. That's a lot of time to put into 2 simple masks. Then it grew to 6 masks, in an hour. And then one day I made 60 masks. But I'm going to tell you, you have to sit there, sew them, and then you have to flip them, and then you have to do this. Then you have to organize all your orders and answer everybody take orders on social media. Then you have to take payment. Then you have to listen, and then you have to ship them. You have to put the envelopes and ship them. All that stuff costs money. The envelopes.
And going back to what Jennifer was saying earlier in the show about them looking at manufacturing and going larger scale, because like you say, making 1 mask at a time, that's very labor intensive.
And you're listening to my co-host, of course, Eli Picarelli, business women, Wanda Mora, Tania Valencia, and of course, our dear Mami Elba. Yo la bendiga, Doña Elba. We're just so honored for you to be a part of this. Talk about the strength of women, strength of Latinas, strength of the immigrant woman that makes our country the wonderful place that it is, and what the country that we know and love, not the other nonsense that people believe it is. Some people believe it is. Before we ask these wonderful women to give their final comments, I want to bring on another entrepreneur, another hustler, someone else that's living their dream that we wanted to inject in this conversation. We wanted to update people. We had this incredible show 2 weeks ago, the 7th anniversary of Found in Translation. Tania was honored. It was actually her birthday, so she was part of the show. And I know many of you where Zulai performed. Zulai has since performed on the show and has really gotten a nice fan base from her great talents. But we wanted to bring on a young man that was part of the show that got also a lot of kudos. He has a special event after this that he wanted to talk about. And so let's bring him on the show. Local hip hop artist, college student, filmmaker, baseball player, and of course, one of my nephews, King Charisma's in the building. Marcus, welcome back to Found in Translation, brother.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be back. I'd be here every week if I could.
Okay, so let people know you have an album release party going on tonight on Instagram. So let people know what's happening tonight, and and where they can tune in and check out the party.
Well, Marcus,
Yeah, man.
first,
Obviously, we're in a
congratulations on selling
situation
out
where
on the
I can't have
album.
the release party I would like to. But I figured, that doesn't stop the party at all. I still got to get something going. I got an album releasing at midnight tonight, available on all platforms. So I figured, you know what? From 11 to 12, let's throw a little virtual release party on my Instagram. My handle is on the screen right now, at King Charisma. Basically, we'll be sitting there chopping it up from 11 to 12 right before the album comes out. And from 12 to 1, I'm going to be giving people time to listen to the album. And at 1 o'clock, I'll be going back on. So then that way, from 1 to 2, we can talk about it, talk about your favorite songs, ask questions, just chop it up with everybody. It's gonna be a good time. I got people ready for it. I got people that bought bottles and things for it. So it's gonna be a good time. 11 to 12 and 1 to 2.
Okay, King Charisma, let people know a little bit about, what should we expect on this new CD? I know that the streets are chirping. Like, what's the flavor? Tell us a little bit about what we should expect tonight.
I know that one thing obviously is called Heal. It's about my healing process from, obviously you're familiar with what I've endured in the last year or so. And, it hasn't been easy at all. So, with losing my grandfather and losing my best friend on the same day. And then there's other things that I personally went through, all of which you hear on the album. So, it's just basically my personal healing process in 15 song form. So,
all right. So you got to check out King Charisma, which is at King with an X Charisma.
Yes,
on IG. Tania, I know you got a couple homegirls going to be up tonight. Can definitely pop in the IG party. Come on now.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'll pop in.
You got to, well, you got to get up very early, because I know your schedule. But some of your friends who maybe are off semester or something. So, Marcus, very proud of you, King Charisma, at King Charisma. Continue to support. We're going to continue to support all the artists and all of the collaborators that are part of the Found Translation family. Enjoy the IG release party tonight at King Charisma with an X, and look forward to hearing the CD tonight, man. I may tune in myself to listen to a few tracks, because you don't even let your uncle get any leaked copies or anything. So I gotta
it probably shouldn't be that way. I probably shouldn't do that, but
that's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all good. You'll give me the money by streaming. That's all.
Exactly. And that was King Charisma. Good luck. Check out your IG party tonight, starting at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, and then you actually get to listen to the album. I don't know, what do y'all call them anymore? Albums, CDs? I don't know. I feel like
I call them albums just because I came from a different school, so that's what I still call it. I don't care.
You got an old soul, like he's a true Renaissance man. He's finishing up his sophomore year at Cabrini University. So much respect to all of our college students that are finishing up their semesters under some very trying circumstances. Best of luck, nephew. Keep up the good work, my friend.
Jessica said it's still an album.
Okay, well, if it's still an album, then for Jessica, then I don't feel so old. I want to make sure as we wrap up this show, any final thoughts? Let's start with you, Wanda. You're always a great inspiration, and I want to thank you again, because I know you continue to support Puerto Rico and a lot of your philanthropy and charity. So I want to thank you as a como Boricua, entre Boricuas, que your leadership is very well appreciated and respected and admired. So just your final thoughts on this conversation, and let people know where they can buy masks and support your business exploits.
Oh, thank you. Well, my website is moramasks.com. We're priced anywhere from $19 to $49. I know it sounds expensive, but everybody's into the designer masks right now. So the LVs and the Gucci's and all that, we have them too. So
I was checking out some of the kid ones. I'm shopping, my friend.
The kid ones are
looking
really,
at
really
those. They like
cute.
those.
Yeah, they're really cute. But I still donate. I'm actually right now in the middle of making, between my seamstresses and I, 150 masks to donate to CHOP, St. Christopher's.
By the way,
St. Christopher's, CHOP, and Ronald McDonald House. So we do still donate. So proceeds of what we sell, we also put into donated masks. My advice to everyone is just follow your dreams. Do everything out of love. Everything will follow.
And you know what? Don't underestimate the skills that you have. I mean, this is something I remember growing up in Philly. My grandmother would she was a seamstress on Broad Street back in the days. And these are talents and skills that are passed along
hard
from generations.
Yeah.
And look how it's paying off. So we think, oh, things that we don't value. And I think about, you go back to it, Wanda, like how many of our folks undervalue just our basic cultural norms, our food. I mean, look how many non-Latinos are making money off Latino food nowadays. I mean, there's just so many examples of how much value
In my
our
house,
culture
it wasn't
brings
an
to us.
option.
That's right. That's right.
It's the way you grew up. If you didn't cook, if you didn't clean, if you didn't sew, ahí venía el chancletazo. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's just it was very cultural for me, and I'm proud of that.
Absolutely. Tanya, let's get you
They're
back in this.
Yeah, you just made us chuckle. Mami, I was giving me quite a few chacletazos, probably.
Tanya, jump in here. Give us some final thoughts, and then bring Elba and Jessica want to say anything else they'd like to share on this episode of Found Translation. Very inspirational. Your whole family, Tanya. We're very proud of you.
Yes. Love the abuela. Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
I love her, Elba. I'm gonna follow Elba.
So
I'm gonna follow Mass by Mami Elba. I love
Mass by Mami Elba.
I love it.
I have to take a few pointers from you, Wanda. But
yes, honey, whatever you need, you inbox me. You hear me? Whatever you need.
Let's make it happen.
Thank you. Yeah, Ray, I think like you really opened it up to like a final thought from me is like the talents that like Mami Elba has had throughout her life. Like she tells me so many stories about like what our papayeyo, which is her dad, like would tell her as she was growing up, that like she had un don is what he called it. Like she had a gift, and ever since she was younger, like she would make my whole family like pants and dresses and everything that the family needed, she pretty much would make. And so I think it's like the amount of talent that goes into being able to do all of that, not just for one person, but for an entire family, and to continue to produce something that goes out to more people with those talents, I think is something that like has so much value in our families, across generations, in our culture. And I think it's like really inspiring. Like I know this is something that I definitely don't want to like lose as a part of like our family's history. Like, as we continue to go.
That is like, Mami Elba's legacy.
Yeah, as we continue.
That is her legacy. Just like my mother's legacy. You know what? It doesn't have to be all this money. It doesn't have to be, I'm leaving I have a doctor's degree and I'm leaving doctors behind. It could be anything. And this is her legacy. And guess what? It's worth so much. It is worth so much. Mami Elba, tienes que saberlo, que lo que usted deja atrás para su hija y para sus nietas tiene un valor que hoy en día las madres no enseñamos, porque yo soy parte de eso también. Pero eso, lo que usted le ha enseñado y lo que le ha dejado a su hija y a sus nietas es una cosa que no tiene precio.
Lo mismo,
tiene un valor tan enorme, tan enorme.
Lo mismo digo yo, porque hoy en esta pandemia yo he tenido que demostrarles más de lo que yo he podido demostrarles.
Se ve.
Una vez que me he puesto frente a la máquina de coser, les he quitado el pelo a los muchachos, les he quitado el pelo a los chuchos, les he hecho líquido para las manos, les cocino y les demuestro que a mis años yo me paro mejor que todas ellas.
Ah, ¿verdad que sí? Enséñale cómo se hace,
Mami. Y ahora les he demostrado a ellos y les digo yo a ellos, cuando yo falte, esto va a ser una historia. Hagan un diario, le digo.
No, es muy admirable, pero cuando usted falte, usted dejó una legacy detrás, que es su nieta y su hija, que va a seguir los pasos a usted. Ya usted verá que sí.
Mire, yo primero limpio, cocino para ponerme a hacer las cosas, porque
Dios la bendiga. Dios la bendiga, de verdad.
So beautiful.
Tiene una fanática aquí. Soy
fanática. You have a whole fan group. Doña You have a Puerto Rican family now. Tiene una familia boricua ahora. Porque
Sí, ahora
nosotros
sí.
vamos a apoyar. No se preocupes. Before this, these wonderful people make me tear on my own show, which I try not to do. I try to minimize that. But this is such a beautiful moment. I want to wrap this up on a lighter note. I want to go to our friend here, Tania Valencia. Tania, great supporter of Puerto Rican community, but the whole family represents for our El Salvadoran population out there. Much love to our Salvies all over the country, particularly in the DC area, but West Coast everywhere. We love our El Salvadoran family. You know, as El Salvadoran, who's also a great friend of the Puerto Rican community, Tania, I know you're hyped for this Puerto Rican event we're going to have. So tell me about what you're looking as an El Salvadoran who supports Puerto Ricans. What artists or what you looking for our Bomba Live virtual Puerto Rican celebration in June?
No, I was just telling my grandma when I saw the comments, I was like, Mami, van a hacer una fiesta puertorriqueña. Tenemos que llamar. We have to call in. Can you get Bad Bunny?
Okay, this is what I knew what was going to happen. You got to go for the hot guy. You know, he's on the cover of Rolling Stone.
I saw.
Bad Bunny is on the cover of Rolling Stone today.
Oh, yeah, he's huge.
He's humongous.
Yeah.
Came out with a new album this week. Did a 4-hour, 5-hour Instagram live to just play his old album, which is like 3 months old or something. So no, Benito from Caguas is who was 5 years ago working at a Payless. You talk about living a dream, this guy. Unbelievable.
He deserves all that success. He's actually a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
And he gives a lot back to the community too. He's very big on giving back to Puerto Rico. Yeah.
He's actually been very courageous. He lost a lot of money with Rosselló, that whole Rosselló situation, because he had to cancel that European tour. I mean, that's a lot of bank you walking away from, you know. No, he's Benito's
no, he represents us well.
Absolutely. So Wanda, the party on the 11th. I mean, any advice? I mean, I know we could throw a party, but I know you know how to put these kind of things together. So I know this is I know you're looking forward to it too.
Oh, just you know what? Let your hair down, have a good time, you know, just dance to like nobody's watching. Just have a good time. There's when you think too much about something, it just doesn't work out. I think that just let it be. Just let it be. It's going to be amazing.
Well, this is what I'm telling the crew, because, you know, in literally 3 days, we've got logos, we've got websites. In July, we were prepping for the show. It was like, where do you have time to do this? And it's like,
seriously,
so much. And Wanda, and we'll talk, we need to have you back on the show, Wanda, to talk about this whole mindset thing, is that you get frozen in fear. You get frozen in thinking about it. Like you said, just do it.
I'm reaching out to. It is the worst. It is the worst enemy, especially in the Latino community.
Absolutely.
We are so scared, and we're so scared mainly about another person's opinion or about another, you know, and it really sets us back. And you cannot have that mindset. You have to really, really learn how to just tread through that and not let that bring you down or hold you back or bring you down. You just cannot do that. You will never be successful that way if you're worried about what other people think. You know, you have to, as long as you're doing things with integrity, you know, you don't, there's no need for you to feel like, you know, you're not always going to, I had to learn this the hard way. You're not always going to please everyone 100%. Keep treading through, stay focused on the positive. Don't put any energy into the negative.
That's
you know,
right.
to be a business person, you have to have thick skin. You have to have really thick skin, and you cannot worry about what the next person thinks about you. You just have to keep going. Believe me, all this great stuff that I've done for the community, I have my haters. We all have our haters. You know, unfortunately, there's just people. I posted something about that today. You know, people will literally do whatever they can to, you know, they're holding their breath to see you fail. Make sure they suffocate. You know?
Powerful. Wanda, before I let you go, because I know you have to take care of some personal matters.
I have to take care of my mom.
But well, actually, we're going to let you go, and I'll share it with the rest of the group. So, Wanda, but thank you so much for joining us. And Wanda, Mora, you talk about a life force, that woman, but I want to share this to that point for folks, and then we'll wrap up the show. Is that I tell people, my nephews and nieces and the younger people I try to mentor and stuff, I tell them, I said, look, and they talk about this, haters and people attacking me and my stuff's not that good. And I'm like, look, who are the most hated people in the world? The most successful.
Right.
So what are you going to do? So if you're getting that kind of pushback, that's their insecurities, not yours.
True.
You're too busy living your dream. That's the issue. So Tania, Valencia, y Mami Elva, and Jessica, any final words as we wrap up this edition of the show?
Yeah, I think I said my final words as far as like that value, you know, and what it means, you know, Mami Elva's talents and the value that it brings for like generations into our family. But I'll let Mami Elva and Jessica, who's been like a powerhouse in this, also, you know, take up some last words. Si quiere decirles
Sí, algunas palabras finales, por favor.
Pensamiento, últimas palabras,
Sí.
algo para la audiencia.
Ay, me quedé muda.
I think this really showed me to like find the good in the bad. Like it's a very bad situation, but my whole family came together and we found the good. And we're spending a lot of time together, hearing a lot of stories. So we're out here helping each other out to like de-stress ourselves and to just stick with each other because we never know when everything's gonna be taken away from us.
Well, Jessica, we admire your leadership as a young businesswoman and leader. Mami Elva, of course, yo la bendiga. You know how much you care about it. And Tania, thank you for the blessing of bringing your family to the show, particularly Mami Elva, because
compartir con nosotros en esta noche. Gracias.
exactamente. So, and you know, Tania, you know how we do. So, Salvies are always welcome here. You're a big part of the family. So, I want to wrap. So, we're gonna say goodbye to these folks. We're gonna keep their URL on here. What a powerful episode, Zula.
What a wonderful story. I love that.
It's really cool. Really cool. That was really cool. A lot of like, and Wanda always spits the game. And Jennifer was fantastic. A lot of knowledge, a lot of great consejos. I mean, that's a C-suite seminar Jennifer Rodriguez gave us for the first hour of the show. A couple quick announcements before we wrap this up is that so Bomba Live virtual Puerto Rico celebration 11th has been announced. Check out our social media for the logo. I already got a version of it. It is unbelievable. We'll break it down tomorrow. And we're going to start announcing the special guest starting this weekend. I already got people lined up, which I haven't even told people about. The other thing is that I want to let people know, particularly for the Philadelphia area folks, very well known DJ community leader Jose Rodriguez, DJ J Broad, has agreed to be the musical producer for Bomba Live. So he's going to be helping us create some virtual music and club experiences, which we're going to talk about later as we get closer to the event. Also wanted to mention that on June 4th, Zulai and the ladies of Founding Translation are going to take over the show. I will not be on that show because it'll be ladies' night. And I know we're waiting for Beta Breath Zulai about that day. And of course, our mixologist, Leap in Copenhagen, has confirmed she will be there making drinks for the ladies. So this should be a lot.
I'm excited about that. I know I say it every time, but it's because I really am excited. You know, are we going to get a list soon of, you know, ingredients so that we can shake?
Well, you'll be getting connected with Lisa, and then I'll leave it up to the ladies, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the last thing I wanted to share is that, and I'll have some information. We'll confirm this on Monday. We'll put it on social media. We have been planning on doing this. You know, one of the things we haven't mentioned much, I want to give a lot of love to our Asian American brothers and sisters. May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so, you know, we got a lot of love for the Asian American community here, and we want to bring more Asian American voices to the table here, Found Translation. So I've been working for a great friend of the show, Liz Miaman Kaufman, an Asian American activist from Minnesota, believe it or not. And she is working with me to put together a special episode of Found Translation, which will be on at the end of the month, with our Asian American brothers and sisters, and we're going to kick it with them. Talk about the issues of commonality between the Hispanic and Asian American community, and just celebrate the Asian American contributions to the country. I'll tell you what, we don't got a health system, we don't got business, we don't got Google, there ain't much going on here with this country without the contribution and the diversity of the Asian American community. Much respect to our API fam. So Liz Miaman Kaufman, she actually. Anyway, but she's been going through a lot with this whole COVID situation. So I wanted to make sure she was in good health and available. But we will be doing the show at the end of the month, so look out for that announcement. Zulai, anything else? This has been I tell you what, Wanda and Mami Elva almost had me tearing. That was a great moment.
Saw that. Me di cuenta.
So Zulai Picarelli, thank you so much for joining for hosting the show. You I'm doing better. I'm letting you do your thing, and you did a great job interviewing our guests, particularly during the Mami Elva segment. Thank you so much for joining July Picarelli, and thank you so much for joining Found Translation Family Bomba Live Puerto Rican
Good night,
celebration.
everyone. Thank you so
Channel
much.
11. Good night.